This is the pickups video for July 2020. Here we go.
Since Spacies.
G'day invaders, Brian here from Since Spacies, and this is the pickups video for 2020 really. I haven't done a pickups video for so long. So what you're about to watch is all the stuff that I've picked up from the beginning of this year. I believe was the last time I did a pickups video till now. And I've got to tell you, 2020, there hasn't really been much on the menu. I really haven't got myself many games. So anyway, we're going to start with number one, the first pickup that is. Now, some of these pickups, I'm not sure if I mentioned them in the last video or not, but if I'm bringing them up here and I mentioned them in the last video, I do apologize, but I still kind of think that they're kind of relevant because I'm still kind of excited that I got them. And the first one is the Game Boy. Ignore the camera, I've had that for ages, but the Game Boy itself. I got this off a workmate. I won't show you the back because it's got his name still written on it. And this is his original Game Boy from back in the mid 90s. And he's had this since he was a kid, and he sold it to me. And I finally got myself a Game Boy. I didn't have the original model until now. It's not the classic one that everyone thinks of, which is the white or grey model, but I won't argue. I bought it off him for 50 bucks, and I'm glad to have this finally in my collection. I've got a nice collection of Game Boy games sitting here, so yeah, glad to have this in my collection. The next item on the list was one that my wife picked up, wasn't me, and this is the Animal Crossing Switch controller. It, for the most part, is just like a Switch Pro controller, except it's much lighter, doesn't have amiibo support, and the other thing is, it just feels a little flimsier. So I would obviously go to the Switch Pro controller any day, but this one is a neat little addition to the collection, and it was one that my wife picked up because look at KK Slider on there. He looks so cool, and those buttons, brown little chocolate buttons, pretty cool controller. So there you go. This is another item that I picked up recently that I'm not sure if I mentioned on the previous video or not, the pickups video that is, but it's the Super Nintendo style controller for the Switch, the 8-bit do gamepad. And this thing, I highly recommend it. It cost me about 60 bucks, I think it was, Australian. And I love this controller. It has all the functions of a regular controller, except no amiibo support, once again. And it doesn't have the HD rumble, but it's got two analog controllers on either side there, and it's great for the classic games. It's got two additional buttons at the top. Great controller, super light. It's awesome. It just operates so well. Another weird one, and I'm going to try and get through this quickly because I just realized my battery's about to die. Guitar Hero for the DS. Yes, that's right. I got this one from Cameron. And Guitar Hero on tour for the DS. It's such a weird thing. Actually, you can see it there. It operates on the side of the DS. Actually, probably better if I show you the box there. Really weird bit of interesting marketing, I think. The marketing for this to have the cutout showing the buttons, they must have sold a stack of these and a bunch of people that won't ever use them, which is typical of Guitar Hero. It's an impulse buy, and then when you get it at home, you realize, I'm not going to play this, but it is so cool to have on my shelf. But anyway, Guitar Hero for the DS. Another two items from Cameron. This time I got Sonic and the Secret Rings guide, because, you know, that's a thing. I just wanted it because of how unusually rare that would be. And also, Super Mario Galaxy. Now, funny story about this is that I actually saw this in Hawaii, and I thought, I want that, but it's too heavy to take with me on a trip, like, because of the baggage, the luggage weight restrictions, I should say. So here I am now in 2020, and I finally have it many years later. But yeah, Super Mario Galaxy for the Wii, great game if you haven't played it, and it's great to finally have myself, let me see if I can open up on a random page here. Great guide, and it just, I don't know, I don't really need a guide for the game, it's just great to have as a little collector's item. I was going to save this for the end, but I figured, well, I've already put this on the channel in the past, but I might as well put it on this video as well. That is the classic control deck, the NES. The box is in immaculate condition for its age, but the actual console itself needs a little love. But I'm so glad that I finally got myself a Nintendo NES finally, and now my work is to get this up and running properly. And when you've got an NES, you've got to have some games to run it, don't you? So I've got Mario Brothers in a cover that I bought. It's not an original, but I bought some of these from eBay just to, you know, give me the vibe of having an 80s collection. Super Mario Brothers 2. I've also got Super Mario Brothers 3. And these two are boxed. I've got Battletoads, which I got from Cameron. And I bought them off him, I might add. And this one from eBay, DuckTales. Look at all the disclaimers and copyrights and crap on the bottom, and that's your artwork, and all this is disclaimers. But anyway, look at the price on there, Maya, $79. That would have been back in the 90s. $79 back then would have been a lot of money by today's standards. Also got myself an extra controller for my Neo Geo Mini. Been eyeing this off for a while, and I picked this up from EB Games. So the Neo Geo Mini, not everyone's cup of tea, but I do love the actual console, and I love it for King of Fighters. That's probably my favorite thing on there, to go through all the King of Fighter games on that console. But to have an extra controller means I can get to go toe to toe with someone else on it. I also picked up Sonic the Hedgehog, the soundtrack. There's only 2,000 of these. This is pretty rare. A bit weird that this would be such a rare item, but I guess no one buys CDs, only idiots like me. I'm going into vinyl, so I might look at trying to get myself a vinyl of this later down the track, but it's so cool to have one of these, and I know one or two other people that picked one of these up once I spread the word about this being only restricted to 2,000 copies. And speaking of Sonic the movie, yes, I did get the movie on Blu-ray. I got the Ultra 4K Ultra HD version. I don't have a 4K TV to run it on, but you know, I wanted to future-proof myself. Man, I gotta tell you, I really am so satisfied with the way this movie turned out, considering how it was starting out. Everyone knows the train wreck that it was looking like it was gonna be. Man, what a save. Like, this is probably gonna be the highest selling movie for 2020. Think about it, how crazy is that? The biggest selling movie for 2020 is a movie about a hedgehog that runs fast. That's great times we're living. A couple of quick games that I picked up. I'm looking at my battery, it's about to run flat, so I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible. Animal Crossing, New Horizon, everyone got that, but I'm gonna get the hint guide very soon. I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that they're doing updates to keep me interested, because before the last update where you can now swim in the water and dive and stuff, I was starting to get a little bit bored of it. But my wife, she is just on this game all the time. And it's the only game that we play together. Not so much together, but you know what I mean. It's the only game she plays. So Animal Crossing on the Switch, I love this game. Also picked up finally Xenoblade Chronicles 3D for the 3DS. I bought this just before the Switch version came out, and I figured, you know what, I've got the digital copy, but I want the physical version, and so here it is in its black box format. And it's the only new 3DS game that I've got for the new 3DS. What a stupid name. But anyway, looks kind of like Potato on this system, but I still find that it's great to be able to play this on the go. However, we did get it on the Switch a little later, didn't we? But anyway, that's just a nice little memento to have on a smaller form factor than the Switch, the 3DS. Speaking of Xenoblades, we also got Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country. I still haven't played it. It's its own game in its own right, but it is a DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Would you buy this if you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2? Probably not, because you do want to catch the storyline and work out what they're all talking about in the story. But it is a bit of an improvement on the engine compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because the frame rate dips quite a lot in that title. But the accents in this are a little different. They're still using Scottish accents, but different voice actors. So you got to get your head around the accent thing there. But I like the fact that they're using Scottish accents in this game, because I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing American voice actors in every single game. Nothing against American voice actors, it's just that they're in every single game just about. So it's good to see something different and refreshing on the scene. Also picked up Pokemon Moon, and I'm probably never going to get a chance to play it, but I'll give it a shot one day. So Pokemon Moon on the 3DS. I almost caused a bit of a storm on Twitch when I went to go stream this, but here it is. Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and we got it in Australia real early, and as soon as I found out that it was dropping like 10 days before the rest of the world, I raced online and got myself a copy of it. And I tell you, this thing is awesome, but it also annoys quite a few people what they did with the storyline in this game. My take on it is that I'm glad they mixed it up, because if they just had have released Final Fantasy VII, but for today's generation, that kind of would have been a little boring and predictable. So I'm willing to give this a chance to see where the story goes in it. I haven't finished it yet, but man, it looks gorgeous. Like, it's one of the best looking PlayStation 4 games that I've seen ever. Speaking of Xenoblade Chronicles from before, I got the deluxe set. Now this thing has a soundtrack along with the game itself, Xenoblade Chronicles Collector's Set, Definitive Edition I should say. This one is not as good as what they got in the UK. In the UK they got vinyl with theirs, a vinyl record. I would have loved that, but you know, I'm happy with what we got. It's got a steel case and also an art book, and it's quite heavy actually. I love the game so far. I've never played Xenoblade Chronicles to the end, so I'm finally doing it with this. I'm getting further into it than I did before. And if you are going to play Xenoblade Chronicles for the first time, the Switch is the version to go for. It is such a good version of the game. They've redone it from the ground up as far as the artwork goes and the graphics, and also the soundtrack is changed and tweaked a little bit too, but you can go back to the original soundtrack if you're not happy with the remake. But this is a really good version of the game. However, if you just want to get the game itself alone, not a collector's set like this, definitely worth chasing after. Now, a couple of strange ones to end with. When I say strange, unusual. NBA Jam, the book. This is from Boss Fight Books. And it's the story about the production of NBA Jam and its success and the back-end stories. Really worth a read if you're into reading about video game history. And it's written by a guy called Ryan Alley, who follows me on Twitter. And you can get this on Amazon fairly cheap, and not the most exciting cover, I must admit, but what's inside is counting in this one. A really great read. I've gone halfway through it. I'm enjoying what I've seen so far in this book. So there you go, NBA Jam, the book. This next one's a little bit special. We had Retro Game Guys do a podcast about Sonic, just Sonic 1 on the Mega Drive. Your stories behind it and your memories, what you were thinking when you first saw it, etc. And they reached out to everyone on Twitter to tell their story about their Sonic story. And I told them about how I got invited by the guys at Sega here in Sydney, and I got to see Sonic in, I guess it was beta form at the time, or a prototype. I got invited in to see the game before it was released to the public. No one even knew what Sonic was back then. And well, because my story sort of stood out from everyone else's, they sent me this, and I haven't got this version. This is on the Genesis. And they signed it and they put it in a protective case. And this doesn't go in my collection. This goes in my display cabinet downstairs, because I was absolutely blown away by the fact that they sent this out to me all the way from America. And I'm so thankful for this. So guys at Retro Game Guys, thank you very much. And I enjoyed that podcast, and I can't wait to catch your Alex Kidd talk. That's going to be awesome as well. And this one was sent out to me by Tabmock99. All the way from America, so getting a few parcels from the States. Thanks guys. This one was a little unusual though. It was sent out in a document parcel with I didn't ask for anything, it wasn't prompted, but here it is. By the way, if you want to send anything, the mailbox is PO Box 192 Jannali, New South Wales 2226 Australia. Anyway, nice plug there. Yeah, this was sent out from America, and it was I guess these are like coupons that you get in your letterbox, like a junk mail, advertising a chance to win the tickets to the Sonic movie. I won't show you the other side because it's got his address on the back there, but that was interesting, real cool. But he also sent this fanzine, or fan art zine they call it, with artwork from different Sonic fans. And I gotta tell you, I'm super impressed with the level of art that goes into the Sonic fan base. It is so cool. And there's an ad in here for an event that will take place in August 1 in Dallas. With COVID-19 going on at the moment, I'm not too sure if that event will go ahead, but if it does, stay safe, people. But the Chaos Creators Sonic Fan Art Zine. I'm impressed with what is in this. Only a little guide, nothing major, but just really such a cool little token of appreciation to my channel, and I really do appreciate getting stuff like this sent to me, so thank you very much for that. So this next one is probably the one item out of everything that I've shown off so far that I'm most impressed with and just super chuffed to get. Is that a word, chuffed? Anyway, it is now. The Toe Jam and Earl, who are on Twitter, such a weird account to follow, and I love just seeing the random stuff that those guys post. They put out an ad saying if anyone's interested to buying their vinyl, that you can reach out to them and they will sell it to you for whatever the price was. But they said it was US residents only, and I arced up saying, why is it US only? How come you can't send it to your mates down here in Australia? They reached out to me and they asked me for my address, and they said, we'll talk price once the record arrives. Well, it arrived, and yeah, here it is. And I didn't realize it at first, but this is a take on the De La Salle album cover, which is pretty cool. So this is a vinyl, a double vinyl on their latest game, and it is color. I'll quickly jump cut to that. So there you go. That's the vinyl there. I won't get it right out, but you can see that it's a limited edition color job. And because I got this, it's got me now collecting vinyls again. I have not bought a vinyl album since the 80s. And I'm now going to buy a turntable, but I'm not getting a regular turntable because, you know, that'll be just too easy. The one I'm getting is going to be a vertical one. You've seen them on DJ Slopes if you follow him. So guys, thank you very much for sending this all the way out to Australia. I just can't get over the generosity on you sending that to me. So well appreciated. And I'm now going to start collecting vinyls because of this. And the next one I'm getting is actually Devil Crash soundtrack for the Mega Drive. So now I've got to try and buy the Mega Drive game, the original one, to go with it. Anyway, so that's been my pickups for July 2020. Leave a comment down below. What pickups did you get recently? Is there anything that you saw in this collection that you're thinking, oh my God, I've got to get that myself? Let me know down below. Also, you can follow me over on Twitch. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sunday, and you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on all the socials, so make sure you follow me over there. I'm going to leave it at that. My name has been Brian, and I've been gaming since Spacies. Thank you, guys.
Since Spacies.